Hello, Symphony backers. And if you're watching this, hopefully you have just watched Swamp Song, written and run for Miskatonic May by Keeper Doc. And now I'm going to get the hell out of the way because holy shit, that was an incredible experience. And I can't wait to hear what the cast has to say about it. So go.
I just want to say, yeah, Doc, it was a stupendously run game and a fun scenario.
Yeah,
for sure. Like you said, you've never streamed before, but it was so smooth because you've been a keeper forever. So right, so like it just you're just doing it on a camera. Like it was perfect.
It did not hurt that I was playing with a really great group of players, and I've played with two of them. And John, you're great too. So I mean, it was like it was really really awesome to be back at a virtual table with Dave and Bridget again. Had so much fun the last time we played at Necronomicon. So what a privilege.
Yeah, absolutely. Great game. Lots of great characters, lots of great NPCs, very evocative, very weird.
Yeah.
Lots of unexplained things. And I think that's the key for my real enjoyment with these things is that it didn't all make sense, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But the outstanding stuff is really disconcerting. Meat Floppy Hat ruined my soul the entire fucking stream.
Yeah.
And apparently it ruined the soul of everyone in chat too, because everyone's like,
Floppy Hat.
Floppy Hat. The body parts in the barrel, you don't have to explain what it is. I'm concerned. The book, the bookshelf, I don't know if I'm reading into it. I could be reading into it, but the medical anatomy cooking, I get Hannibal Lecter vibes off of that. And it's bothering me that that's in the Count's house. I don't know what's happening, and I don't have to because now I can actually read the scenario. I already bought it, but now I can actually read it and try to figure out what was going on. But wow, Doc, your descriptions were absolutely incredible. And Table, you guys showed out from the moment we all walked on the porch and described how we got there.
Yeah, so much fun.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Great characters. Yeah, no, I so as I shared with you guys, Tip was a character that was made for my Masks campaign by a friend of mine who works in politics. So he was bringing a lot of that energy to it, and it's just I love playing with Tip's character because it's like playing with my friends again.
Yeah.
But we are your friends, Dave.
Yeah. But I feel like I'm back in my Masks campaign again. It's like, you are also my friends.
Shame.
And yeah, it was really great. We talked about the time limit beforehand and the pacing, and that was the one thing that I was slightly concerned about. I feel like I pushed the climax a little bit, and I'm sorry if I left it like a little bit.
Not at all.
90% of the streams that end here because you start getting fun, you start getting distracted, the role play gets good, and you look up, and it's like, shit, I have 30 minutes to go.
Somebody starts eating hallucinogenic mushrooms.
I know, I did that. I did that, and I honestly wasn't trying to spoil anything. I was just like, oh, I'm just going to stand here and have some fun. And then it started to like grow like a fungus into something bigger, and I was like, oh, we can move along. Because I'm eyeing the clock as well, because that's what I do, and I'm like, oh, I don't want this to become a thing. So thanks for everyone running with that. And
no, it was beautiful. I loved it.
It was a nice distraction.
That is a very Tip thing to do as well.
The thing that broke me at the end was Dave was like, don't wake the whatever the hell it said, don't wake the watcher or whatever. And Dave's like, hey buddy, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, that's it. Okay, that's the end of the scenario now. It's all over. It's like, God damn, the clue was right there.
I not always putting one to one together.
Listen, but it turned out beautifully. You went down in a flush of glory. Haha, see what I did there? Yeah. Also, the middle imagery of sliding into like an underground water chamber while you have a torrential downpour happening above you was already uncomfortable, but having a bunch of bodies just floating in open coffins, I would have rather them they've just been floating. The fact that they were intentionally put in coffins made it feel like those candles that sit on top of water, and I just didn't like it. It got underneath my fingernails, and I hated it. I hated a lot of things in this scenario.
Nice, good. That makes me happy.
Quick question for, just because I always ask this at least during these talkbacks. For Doc and Dave, this was your first time streaming. What were your honest impressions of it?
You first, Dave.
I spend a lot of time on Zoom. Like a lot of time on Zoom. So I mean, I had to sit still and I had to pay attention to all the time in the same way that I do when I'm on the Zoom with my boss or other executives.
Mhm.
I had to pay attention, except for those executives is the audience. But otherwise, it was totally fine. So it's fine. I spent a lot of time on Zoom,
Yeah,
and
he was like, I
so
do
it's
Zoom.
not that big of a deal for me.
Nice. How about you,
I would
Doc?
apologize hearing Dave saying he sat still. Like I know that I was moving around a lot, so I apologize for that.
Nope, you were fine.
I can't resist the urge to sort of embody some of the things that are going on there. But I yeah, playing with you guys made it easy.
Yeah.
As always, playing with a good table, it always makes everything seem easier. I was definitely quite nervous about it. Just because more from the standpoint of like I was afraid I like just the technical standpoint screwing something up.
Yeah.
But I didn't turn off my camera.
No, thank the Lord on
Uh-oh.
high. Nope. And I only broke
And-
something in the first 5 minutes, so we were good there.
And Bridget, you did a good job of making sure that we knew what we needed to do.
Yeah. You did a great job helping us out. So thank you.
Good. Would you two stream again? Anywhere?
Sure, man.
Sure.
Like I said, I already spent a lot of time on Zoom. If I got to play Call of Cthulhu or other games on it, sure, yeah, man,
He's
whatever.
like, yeah, sure, I'm in. That was my only real question I had.
I think the hardest thing for me, the hardest thing for me is getting the time, and I think that might be Dave's thing too.
Yeah.
So I have a question for anybody that's run Mass, but particularly for Dave because I know he's running it right now. What do you think about this as a interlude scenario?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking about. Well, I do things I like for as an interlude for Masks. I do like Jackson being in peril and having opportunity to save Jackson. So that's a good flip around because in the Masks prologue, which I just finished last night, he does a bit of rescuing of the party. He's kind of set up. He's got some plot armor. So you're asking me specifically about Masks. I like that it feels like it could be done. My parties are always take way too long, but it feels like it'd be done in 2 episodes max, 2 sessions max, right? And you could stretch out a bit, right? You could take a full 6 hours with it and really just kind of lean into everything rather than getting into like, oh shit, we got a half an hour left. Like you could really lean into the relationships and lean into New Orleans and maybe even I've been listening to the Old Ways podcast and Mike Diamond does a really good job of tying in multiple threads, disparate threads at the same time. He's really, really good at keeping like 20 different plates going on at the same time. And it might be a really good like middle, between the prologue and the kickoff of Masks, if you set up some things before it, or you resolve them in New Orleans, or if you use New Orleans to set up some short or longer term threads in New Orleans. It's a really evocative city. There's a lot you can do. You provided a map in the scenario of the French Quarter, so there's a lot more you could do, and that's what has me thinking that maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do 2 or 3 sessions in New Orleans, and this will be part of it. But I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities here for it being an interlude.
Yeah, New Orleans is a really fun setting, and I did not give it to you guys. I handed it to Bridget, but I usually when I play this with other groups, I'll give them a map at the table so they can see all the landmarks. Because everything
show that to the backers now.
Yeah, everything is really close, and these are real locations.
Yeah. The authenticity was definitely there, from the smell of magnolia to you actually doing the demonstration with the absinthe to just like, it felt really authentic.
Yeah, for sure.
They actually do have those underground passageways in New Orleans. They're underground canals that drain to the river. So
someone in chat called it out, and then they were like, those things like flood all the time. And what did you hear the next 3 minutes later? And you hear rushing water from below there. It's like, well, damn it.
Love it.
How much historical research did you have to put into this one, Doc?
I mean, for me, that's one of the things that I enjoy about writing Call of Cthulhu scenarios is like looking at the historical research. It really helps me appreciate the city a little bit more. So for me, it's not an effort. It's just the fun of it. But it gives me inspiration when I'm creating a scenario. Like, what are some locations that I want to include? So, like the Absinthe House, really cool place. The Count's restaurant. The Count is based off a Count Arnaud, who owns a restaurant. It's another place that you can go in New Orleans, Arnaud's. So like these are locations, and the location of the speakeasy for the Absinthe House is actually the real location that it moved to when they shut it down.
Oh,
so like, yeah.
Cool.
So it's just I like just that aspect. That's one of the reasons that I really like Call of Cthulhu personally, is that I really dig the history.
So, John, I have
Very
a random
cool.
question for you, too. Sorry, I know I'm not supposed to be leading a discussion here, but here I am. You're the first person that I have played with in probably years that walked onto a scenario with their own character that they had been playing in other scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
How is, one, can you tell us about that character? And then two, like, how was that walking onto a stream with that character or walking back off? Because, like, right before we hit record, guys, John and Doc actually went through the reward system. Like, oh, you did this, so here's your sanity rewards, and here's your sanity. Like, they actually did the advancement mechanics there. So just like, John, can you talk us through, like, what that's like? Because I don't think I've seen that in years, if ever.
So the way Oscar started, wrote a, not like officially wrote, but wrote a scenario, an adventure that he'd been wanting to do for like 15 years. And we did it on Legends. It's to put away childish things. So it was character I created for that story. And we went like 10 sessions. And the thing that struck me, we were partway through in Lisa Paddle, we were in a scenario and she's like, oh, well, I do this because of this, this, and this. And it was like maybe the second session in, and I sat back and I went, I really don't know who the fuck this guy is. Like, we've been playing for a couple sessions. I'm like, geez, this sucks. So I went down and I, found some questions online, like, to try to drill down, like, who this person is. And, we ran through that whole scenario and I got a better handle on who Harry was. Yeah. And, just your typical, just tropey PI, whatever, but like more about his, place in the world. I kind of, sussed that out a little bit more. And when we went to Necro, Oscar was running Girl in the Pines. And he was like, I want you to bring Harry. Oh. And I was like, okay, all right. For sure, that's fine. You're my GM. I trust you, whatever. So played through that scenario, came back, and then he wrote another scenario for the podcast called An Eldritch Infestation. So we took Harry for that. My buddy Jesse, he played through the first campaign, and he played, and then Alex, I forget Alex's last name. Anyway, he's written a couple scenarios. So, Harry's story continued then through that. So, when Oscar said, hey, I got the chance to be on with Bridget, blah, 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 whatever. And, Dave, and, want to see what Dave's game is like. He was like, do you want to play? And I was like, well, of course. I'm never going to say no to playing a game. And he's like, I want you to bring Harry. And I'm like, okay. I'm not sure what this scenario is like. And I hate to lose him if it's like everybody dies and goes insane and like there's all kinds of murder. So
we had a little conversation beforehand. He was like, is he gonna die? And I was like, no, he'll be fine.
No,
Tip's gonna die.
Oscar's not here.
Tip's
and
gonna die.
Everybody's fine with Tip dying.
We're good.
But yeah, Doc set me at ease and said, nope, you should be fine. It's pretty square. So it was really comfortable and easy for me to just inhabit Harry and like play, because we did the play test with Chad yesterday, and just to have like a random pre-gen, it's not as easy for me. Like Al's like, oh, I got it. This guy is this and this and this, and it's just like totally in it. Rena was in the game. They were totally into character, and I was kind of like just trying to feel it out. So getting to play a character that has some backstory that I played a little bit, made it easier for me to be on the stream and have more of a grounding with it.
Good for you, damn it. And thank
Very
you
cool.
for sharing that with us, because that's super insightful.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, I would never say no to somebody asking to bring their own character. It was a little different for me.
Yeah. You're right, absolutely right, Bridget. I haven't seen that either.
And it worked out seamlessly. This is one of those scenarios though where you can play anything. Like the pre-gens aren't specific enough to the scenario where it like you can play absolutely anything.
Right.
We
and
have
that's
Private
exactly
Eye. Yeah.
Explorer.
Explorer, and then a failed politician.
You're right.
Yeah.
Or the
Yeah, there's-
mouthpiece.
Interesting people. Yeah, he was definitely the face.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, by the way, Doc, you did a really good job with your pre-gens, because I looked through a couple of them after I had chosen on just some, let me see what's here. And just, there's a reason why I was so intentional about reading the text that you had written on the back of them, because I thought it was actually just really well-developed characters.
Mhm.
I get really into making pre-gens. Yeah. I really like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're gorgeous. I mean, just like the very last scene where it's like, duh, escape, run. The fuck are we talking about? This is a zero-sum game here. No one is gonna win. No, I'm gonna go back for Tip. I'm gonna fail and probably die, but it's on my character sheet, and I love that aspect enough that I'm just gonna lean in onto it. I'm in the 11th hour. Let's go.
I love it.
Hey, I need to run for the evening.
Dave.
What?
Dave's bailing on us. He's a bailer.
Oh,
think
he's a bailer. Oh shit, and we're at 15 minutes anyways. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dave.
It's okay.
You said
know I
it,
love
I was
you.
just like, he's saying something about the game, but I don't remember what happened in the game that had to do with running in the evening. What am I missing? No, I absolutely love you. Sorry, we're over time. Really fast. Let's run through the table hyper fast and call out one thing that stood out to you about either the content or the game, another character, yourself, anything.
Great setting. I love the introduction. I love the house, the Count's house. So many great details. Just
Details were
very evocative.
Succulent. Yep. How about
Very,
you, John?
very moody. Yep.
Mm.
Love the mood. Love the vibe. New Orleans is cool. Like just it's very, yeah. Take it.
Everyone was a lush, amazing NPC, and I loved hating interacting with every single one of them. I enjoy the NPCs so much.
Yeah, dynamic and very full.
Yes.
NPCs,
Yes.
yeah.
Doc, any closing thoughts for us, baby?
Oh, I thought you guys were fantastic. I mean, I had to remove a lot of content in order to get you guys to a conclusion, but you guys just really got into everything. Like, you spent the most time in the house that anybody has ever in any of my playthroughs, despite this being the shortest run. And I really liked that. You interacted with all the characters there. It was a really good time playing in the house, which is a place that I feel like you can really explore. So that was one of the highlights for me.
Good.
This would be 2
Aton
or
was
3
amazing.
sessions for us.
Oh God, yeah, easily. So, guys, I have held everyone hostage long enough. Cast and crew, I love you guys. Thank you so much for streaming with the Symphony. And backers, thank you so much for supporting the content. I love your faces, and we will catch you for the next Talkback. Mwah. Have a good night,
Bye.
guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
I thank you.